What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York calling from Zoom again, and this time we are here with Youngy of the Almighty King Parrot. It is great to have King Parrot back on the show, and this time we got you. It's great to see you, man.
Oh, thanks for having us. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, anytime. It's always great to have you here. I feel like whenever I interview King Parrot, it's always in the rather more inconvenient spots in a way. Like I interviewed Slats every day in the bathroom at Gramercy Theater back in the early days. I interviewed Youngie in the St. Vitus hepatitis-filled basement back in
Oh
the
yeah,
day, and now I got you on the tour bus where the Wi-Fi could probably die at any minute.
that's right, man. But look, it's just the way we roll.
Yep.
Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
King Parrot, the most professional, unprofessional band out there.
That'll do.
But it's so awesome to have you here, man. Especially because the last time I like spoke with Mr. White and Slats, we were still promoting Ugly Produce, but the latest stuff that we got
Yep.
was Hold Up in the Lair, which the EP that came out in 2020, and then you just released the Split. With the stench of hardcore pub thrash. But when can we be expecting a full length follow up to Ugly Produce? We'll get that question out of the way.
Oh yeah, so we're working on that at the moment. We've got some. I don't know. I guess we're about halfway through it, but yeah, it's sort of we had a bit of touring come up. We had this come up and all that sort of thing. So um, I guess we always kind of put precedent over playing live. That's what we love doing. But yeah, we're definitely working on it. So hopefully next year we'll see something. That's the plan.
Would the EP that you put out in 2020 maybe serve as like a good representation of what's in store for King Parrot in terms of the sound?
Yeah, I think so, man. I mean, it was, yeah, that was, it's, I mean, I guess we do what we do, and I guess we're lucky in a way that we've kind of established a sound within the band, and then we can just, like with the way that the guitars are, and the way that the drums are, and the way that the vocals are. I think it's kind of safe to say when you listen to King Parrot, you can go, oh, that's King Parrot, which is cool. So it gives us the opportunity to sort of work with all the different things we do from grind, punk, thrash metal, whatever. We've kind of got that sound established, which is for us. I think it's a bit of a blessing, really, and it just gives us the opportunity to expand within that. So
Yeah.
yeah, we like so much different stuff, so it's we never kind of put any lid on it. You know what I mean? But you can be sure that it's going to be fast, aggressive, funny at times. All those things.
It's funny
You can count on that.
when I interviewed Slats, I told him that I consider King Parrot to be the agnostic front of the Pacific or the agnostic front of Australia in a way because uh,
Okay.
because you definitely have like the whole hardcore mentality. You have the hardcore vibe. When I first saw you on the Phil Anselmo and the Illegals and Devil Driver tour back in the day, um, where everybody was mistaking one of your members for King Parrot or for Dez from Devil Driver. By the way, I want to point that out. But I forgot which member it was. But
That would have been tied our drummer.
yep, exactly. Myself included. I asked to get a picture with him, calling him Dez, but I'll confess that now. But when I first saw you, like I found it astonishing how you turned the Gramercy Theater really into like a hardcore like DIY BFW hall. Like it felt like I was at like an old school agnostic front show. I was just wondering, and I heard that you took a lot of inspiration from New York City hardcore and all that. I was just wondering how did like King Parrot like have access to it going all the way in Australia? I know that the band like started in 2010, so the internet was pretty active at that time, but what sort of was the gateway into hardcore?
Oh, look, man. I mean, there's all sorts of different things. I mean, we've been around for like as musicians, we've all been around for longer than what the band has existed. I've been myself active in the scene in Australia for like 15 years before we did King Parrot. So and for our guitarist Squiz, he's been around a lot longer than that. 'Cause he's a bit older than me, and Todd, our drummer, has definitely had a lot of experience with other bands, playing in the Berserker, and so we've all been around and played in other bands before King Parrot came about. But I guess what we wanted to do with King Parrot was try and draw on all of the influences and all of the things that made that we love, which includes New York hardcore and all sorts of other hardcore stuff. There's some great hardcore bands from Australia too, but also grindcore bands and also thrash bands and also punk bands and bands that would primarily bands that sort of did their own thing, that had their own sound. And, first and foremost, that was something that we wanted to do, was to be able to create a sound that was our own, and then evolve from that. And I think we did that part quite well. And now we just grow from here. That's the big thing. We just grow from here, and we've got that sound that we've sort of established, like I was sort of saying before. So we're always open to new stuff. We're always open to new tunes. We're always open to new music that we could be influenced by. And yeah, man, it's great in that sense.
It definitely is, especially because like with King Parrot, I mean, there's an evolution that's definitely present. Like when you compare Bite Your Head Off to Dead Set to Ugly Produce to even now with this new EP, it seems like there is always an evolution that goes along with King Parrot. And whether I'm listening to an album or seeing you live, I'm always wondering what's happening next in a way. So when it comes to writing the music, do you ever base it on a vision in a way? Is it always like, do you go into songwriting with a preconceived idea of what you want the sound to be like lyrically or sonically, or is it just really throwing paint at the wall and seeing what sticks?
I think a lot of the time we start with the riff. We'll start with a guitar idea, a guitar riff, a couple of riffs apart. Occasionally it might be a vocal idea. But generally we'll work on a riff. And then, from the riff, we'll develop the song and the way that it's structured and the way that it works and the way that the drums are. And then, while the guys are doing that, I'll often sit in the background and sort of tinker away writing lyrics, or, just trying to really channel and feel what the song brings up for me, and then sort of go with it from there. Sometimes they could be a bit tricky. Sometimes I get a bit of a help. Sometimes someone might throw an idea at me. So, yeah, that's kind of how it generally works. We kind of work from the bridge.
And
That would be, yeah.
I get that answer a lot, that it always starts off with a riff, which is cool,
Yeah.
and there's nothing wrong with it. But this is now the new question I like to ask whenever I get that answer. Do you think we'll ever run out of? Do you think we'll ever run out of riffs one day?
There's always more risk, brother. There's always more risks.
That needs to be a T-shirt. That needs to be a T-shirt or the name of the next album. There's always more riffs.
Definitely, I'll put that in the book.
Yeah,
Sure.
please. Well, and now with guitars having like 75 different strings on it now, you couldn't be more right. So.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Yep. But as a vocalist, though, because there is such like a punk rock vibe behind King Parrot in a way. As a lyricist, do you try to maybe use your lyrics to convey a specific message, or sort of like make a statement in a way, or do you prefer if your music is more open to interpretation?
I think a little bit of both, man. I mean, I often listen to I like the band Clutch, and I like what Neil Fallon does. And sometimes you look at his lyrics, and sometimes you can kind of go, yeah, that's what the song's about. That's cool, whatever. But then other times, you read like 3 or 4 different things in one song, and it won't necessarily mean anything in particular. It's just the way that the phrasing works for that song. So sometimes the songs have a theme or a topic or whatever, and other times, you just kind of go in with what sounds cool. I think more so in the early stuff, that was the case. It was like just whatever sounds cool, and then maybe in the later last few albums and stuff like that, the songs have more of a general theme, but I never kind of, I just try and do what works for the song and what I think will work best for the song.
And also too, your music captures a moment as well. Like, you can't exactly. I don't feel like your music, and I mean it as a compliment in a way, but I don't look at I can't listen or analyze your music like your Dream Theater or Porcupine Tree, where there's a concept and like a climax or anything like that. It just captures a moment. So is it fair to like assume that you guys try not to work on the songs for too long? You kind of just want to leave them raw and organic.
That would be. I mean, they do definitely go through a process of the writing, demoing, listening back, changing, maybe messing with some structures and stuff like that. But yeah, we're certainly not Dream Theater.
But let me ask you, with all the aliases that you go by, Youngy, Mr. White, Squiz, Slats, Toddy, are you guys have people mistaken you for a black metal band yet?
That's well, I
Oh,
when we did the shit on the little video where we all wore the makeup and stuff like that in that particular video, which was purely a piss take. Um, I think some people, not all people, but some people potentially thought that we would be doing that live, that we would wear that stuff live. But I mean, yeah, if you know us, you know that we wouldn't do that live anyway. I mean, we've done it a couple of times as a joke or whatever, but um, yeah, no, definitely not. Definitely not being mistaken for a black metal band. Although a, a few fans have actually been disappointed that we don't do all that shit like we did in that video. But
I want
yeah,
I
yeah,
want
no.
I wanted to mention that video. Like I could just see a kid going to a King Parrot show and like he sees you guys go on stage the way you are and he just cries like finding out Santa Claus doesn't exist in a way. So
I hope not. I hope we make it up with the live performance. With the energy and the absurdity of the way that we perform live. Hopefully that will bring a smile to their face.
it definitely brought a smile to all of ours, which some people may say, yeah, and that's the other thing. You guys can't be black metal because you guys are too happy to be black metal. But when it comes to like that live energy that you have, because again, I think a King Parrot show, there's really you nothing like a King Parrot show. Whether you're opening the show or headlining it, it's always a fun experience. But is that something that you can really practice or perfect? Do you almost like rehearse stage presence as much as you rehearse the actual song?
I think just over the years from playing live so much that we've toured so much and we've had so much experience playing on tiny little stages like dive bar stages to medium sized venues and at the moment we've been playing shows with Pantera and Lamb of God playing on like amphitheater stages. So we like to think that the way that we perform and the way that we present the band is it can translate to any size stage. But what our main thing is that we're all individuals and we all bring our own thing to the band, and we don't sit down and go, oh, we have to do this or you have to do that. We just let everyone do their own thing. We just let everyone like project whatever it is that they want to do on stage, and that makes the whole of what King Parrot is, and it also makes it unique in a way. So that's the only thing we've ever really done, But obviously, you get used to the way that people move on stage. And you get used to, like I'm running around like a headless chook most of the time, and Slats is dancing and doing all sorts of stupid shit, and and all that sort of stuff. So you get used to the way each other moves, and all that sort of stuff. So that's just an unspoken thing for us.
And you led me perfectly into the next question, which you kind of just answered this in a way, because I've seen King Parrot now. I've seen you guys play at like Gramercy Theater, 500 cap, decent sized venue. But I've seen you play at St. Vitus, also at the Meadows, where like it's as intimate of a show as it gets. There's just as many people on the stage as off. But now doing the amphitheaters with the Pantera and Lamb of God, like that's massive in a way. Does that almost feel like it's not completely, but is it almost a different King Parrot experience in a way? Did I lose you?
Well, I mean, I guess it is for us because everything it sounds so different. It's always a different thing in a space that large. But I would say, like from the audience, I could only hope that it's the same kind of thing. Like there's still that same energy there. There's still that same ferocity and approach to the performance. So, I mean, I don't really know. Maybe you'll have to come to a show and let me know.
I mean, that's the beautiful thing. I think like it takes a specific type of talent to play an arena, but it also takes a specific type of talent to play like a dive bar at the same time. So I do think that oh, did I lose you for a second? Did I lose you?
I'm here, man. If you get, I don't know, I'm here.
Yep, I got you. Yep, I got you. You froze for a
I'm
sec.
here.
Yep, you froze for a second. 2023 interview problems, but I feel like it takes it's one thing for a band to headline and get a whole arena going, but it also is another talent for like a hardcore band to play like a small DIY sort of club. I think there's certain strategies to both. So the fact that you're able to pull off both, I think, is a real awesome accomplishment.
Thank you, my man. We approach every show the same. We just approach every single show the same, whether it's in front of 10 people, 10,000 people, doesn't matter. We just go hell for leather every time.
Yep. And either way, you're going to make an impact on somebody one way or another. You are the band. Every time I've seen King Parrot, and I've gone to death metal shows, black metal shows, hardcore shows, you name it. There's always a couple people standing there like this or away, or whatever. Every King Parrot show, everybody has some sort of reaction. Or better, yeah. Everybody has a reaction at a King Parrot show. So.
Yeah, and if they don't give us one, I'll just chuck a bottle of water on them, something like that, and then they'll have something. Then they'll have to do something.
Yeah. Do that while somebody's looking on their phone. See how that pulls off.
That's right.
And I have two more questions for you. One of them going back to songwriting in a way, because there's such an essence of unity in King Parrot. I always love seeing all you guys play together, and I feel that camaraderie. But when it comes to either writing the lyrics or coming up with song ideas, do you prefer to maybe write when you're more alone in isolation and there's really nothing between you and your book in a way, or is it better if you're all in the company of each other when songwriting?
I think in the past we definitely have been a lot more productive when we kind of isolate and spend some time together, like writing away from the distractions of everyday life. So we've always sort of spent a little bit of time like on each record, but generally gone away for a week or two together and got involved with the writing done. So that we're, ready and prepared to record the album properly and just have that extra time to write, and just to focus and be around each other and stuff like that. I found that's been our most productive time.
Yeah. I feel like
Sure.
I feel like it is good when you're more in isolation, but you also being around each other is also, you'll never know what idea you'll come up with regardless of what setting you're in.
Yeah, exactly, man. And little things like that do have an impact, even if you don't realize it. Like we wrote an album in Vermont years ago with the Dead Set record. It was written mostly in America, in Vermont, when we had a month off in between tours. Just was a circumstantial thing, and we just used the time productively. And then the last record, we sort of wrote it up in Queensland, at a studio up there where we were just away from everyone, and just had a bit of time to just focus on the writing. So that's been the most productive stuff. So we'll look to, at doing that, potentially this summer when we get home. So it'll be our summertime when we get home. So we'll be looking at doing something like that once we get back to Australia, and really honing on the new stuff that we're writing.
You got to do a festival on the Ayers Rock. I'm telling every Australian band that they got to make that happen. Do a show on the Ayers Rock.
Well, I don't, I mean, they have there's a metal festival out there actually out in Alice Springs, which is 3 or 4 hours from Ayers Rock, called Black and the Globe, which we've played a couple of times now. Lots of other bands have played there. I think they had Revocation play there recently, and
Hell yeah.
Psychotic and Hamel and the Sniffers have played there, and Die Hard is Murder, I think. We've had headlined it a couple of years as well. So they do have stuff out there, but I think Ayers Rock itself, I don't even know if you can. I think you can walk on it, but I don't think it's. I think it's discouraged, but you can if you want to.
Yeah. Well, one day, that'll be
One day.
Yep.
We'll see.
Yep.
It's like sacred land, sacred Aboriginal land. So I think it's kind of frowned upon, but they do have a scene up there, and they do have metal up there, which is out in the middle of nowhere, and it's incredible to go up there and visit. We love it up there.
Yeah. Metal unites everybody. So
Indeed, it does.
So before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time. It's always great to talk to King Parrot. Again, King Parrot interviews are always my favorite because I'm always curious to how they're going to go. I am very blessed right now that we've only had the internet cut out once so far for a moving truck. That's an accomplishment. So I'm very impressed.
Winners.
Yep. And there's a moment in the interview where you kind of like froze and you're like this, but you're still talking. So,
Cool.
yep, I'll keep that in there. Is there just anything else with King Parrot you'd like to promote? You're on this current tour with Weed Eater right now. What else we could be expecting for King Parrot in the future for new music, maybe?
Well, look, we're going to be out. Yeah, but tonight we play with Weed Eater tonight. It's the last little run that we've done with them. Done about 7 shows. That's one with Weed Eater. Then later this week, we're doing. We're playing with Pantera and Lamb of God tomorrow in Atlanta, in Alpharetta, which is just outside of Atlanta. Then we do Richmond, we do our own headlining show in Richmond at a club, at the Camel, I believe. And then we do 2 more shows with Pantera and Lamb of God. And then we're done with that. We sort of head back across the country, do a couple of headliners on the way over to the West Coast. And then we meet up with Filth is Eternal and Spirit in the Room, and they're going to join us for about a week of shows. Start up in Vancouver and work our way all the way down to LA, San Diego, and Mesa over in Phoenix. And then to finish off, we've got 3 shows in Texas on the way back to Louisiana, where we have our Score Records home base. And then we'll be back in Australia. We've got a couple of shows coming up over there, Melbourne show, and maybe a few others that we're working on at the moment. And then we're mostly writing. And we're going to be mostly focusing on this new record, trying to get that done over the summer. And, we want to be back in America. We want to be back over here touring. We love it here. So it's amazing. And we have the best time. And the shows have been incredible this time around. And the response has been awesome. So, yeah, we've still got, we're kind of not even halfway through the tour yet. So we're kind of I think there's 2 more shows and then we're halfway. Yeah. So we've still got a whole bunch more shows. So we'll be coming by you somewhere probably. And check out kingparrot.net for all that information and tickets and all that stuff.
Hell yeah.
And hey, thank you for your support. We appreciate you.
Anytime, man. Thank you for always the good times. And, King Parrot was one of the earliest interviews from Heavy New York back in 2017. So good memories with King Parrot. It's great to still be able to talk with you guys.
We appreciate you, brother.
Anytime. Everybody, we are here with King Parrot. This is Alex from Heavy New York, and we will see you next time.